There are two aspects. One is the person who's bullying, and one is the person who's getting bullied, right? For the person who's getting bullied, there's a concept of saying no and setting boundaries. And it must start at home, it must start in the school. The teachers, educators must also have that environment. Unfortunately, there are some students who think bullying is cool. It isn't. And if you see later in life, they will get bullied a lot. It's karma, right? It's very sad. I mean, globally, the statistics of people who commit suicide between 15 and 29 is alarmingly increasing, especially in India. Today, when you see in the world, values like kindness, gratitude, compassion is not abundant, right? And as an educator, I always tell educators like you and schools and principals that we work with, instill values of kindness and compassion, mindfulness. In Finland and Denmark and a lot of Nordic countries, they teach happiness as a subject from grade 1 to grade 12.
Hello. Today we are excited to have a very special guest whose calling is to help people live their best lives with a purpose, passion, and making a positive impact on the society. Our guest is none other than Manny Anchan, a TEDx speaker, author of 5 books, purpose researcher, and a lifestyle entrepreneur who's worked with everyone from international athletes, film stars, billionaire founders, CEOs, and other entrepreneurs. An alumni of Harvard Columbia Business School, his insights have been featured in many global publications. Manny's got a fascinating background: an ex global banker, a former first class cricketer, and a devoted single dad. And we can't wait to dive into his thoughts on purpose, passion, and making a difference to this world. Welcome to the show, Manny Anchan. So my first question, Manny, to you is, as a dad myself of a teenager, of 2 teenagers, and you are a dad of a 16-year-old. How do you inspire the young generation, especially teenagers who are going through competitive exams like HSC, SSC? How do you help them incorporate, say, a concept like Ikigai, which you are an expert in?
Okay, so thank you for having me first, Jay. I wish you the very best with your show and your work, of course. And just a poignant reminder, being a dad is the hardest thing in the world. I'm a single dad and my son is 16. So I think it's tough, but I think it's very rewarding. And he's my Ikigai. I always tell people that. For inspiring people, I think you have to walk the talk. So I take him to the gym. I read a lot with him. We watch some good podcasts. We eat healthy. So if I don't do it, he's never going to do it. So you've got to walk the talk as a leader. You've got to walk the talk as a CEO. You've got to walk the talk as a partner, father. So I think that is something I would always tell people. Build the right habits.
These are some great practical tips that you're giving. But,
Yeah.
a lot of parents would still want some shortcut. These are all long-term things.
Right.
But right now,
Yeah.
as we talk, a lot of children are going through the HSC and SSC exam.
Right.
And they don't know what career to choose, especially young children.
Right.
They don't know what career to choose. After these exams, what are the right subjects to choose? So what would you tell these students? How do they how do they find their Ikigai?
I think me and Som had a very insightful conversation a few days ago on the same thing. He said, Dad, how do I find my purpose? What should I do? Should I focus on one thing or multiple things? I said, look, focus on multiple things that add up to what you really enjoy. So he said, okay. And that's what I would always say. Look at what brings you joy as a student. You don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to be an engineer anymore. Like 30 years ago when you and me were growing up, I think the options were limited. Today you can be a chef. Today you can be lots of things, right? So go back as a parent and as a son or a daughter and have an honest conversation that this is what I truly love. Take a gap year. I told my son, take a gap year if you want. Explore. He's saying, okay, how do I make money? I don't want to be a strain on you. So I would like to work and sponsor my own education, like very much like what I did. So read, meet people, do summer gigs, work in a bank, work in a restaurant. And it's not about the money. It's about the experience. And it's what ultimately brings you joy. Chase that. I would always say, chase that.
Interesting. A lot of parents are gonna find this very difficult to digest because traditionally we are all, wired to think that my son has to become, or daughter has to become a doctor or an engineer or a CEO of some company. But people don't understand that the top guys, the top CEOs, the top, whoever's doing the best in their field, they actually if not consciously, then subconsciously went through their own ikigai, figured out what they were good at, and that's how they got their career path chosen. And I think we live in good times that people like you come and speak about this and trying to bring more awareness in the society. And this is what our this talk show is about, right? Education Matters is not just about talking about the literacy or the numeracy part or getting a particular degree. We want to talk about what all things are involved for a child to be happy finally, right? Because the purpose of education is not literacy.
Yes.
The purpose of education is that children have to finally be happy in their own skin. And I think a concept like Ikigai really, really, really helps. Now, going back to the teacher side, right? I think for students, students and parents, it'll be still interesting. But some teachers, they've already chosen this path, right, for whatever reasons, right? And I think traditionally in India, it's always teachers. If you can't do anything, become a teacher. But now things are changing. A lot of people are coming into education because they're passionate about education. How would you inspire a teacher to find her own ikigai, which helps her to motivate her own students or their own students, right? Motivate and also help them explore their own interest and ikigai.
So two things. One, teachers shape the society. My dad came from a very poor background in Bangalore. Then he came to Bombay. He used to study in the night school. Then he graduated and he taught Hindi daytime to support his, till he became proficient in his work. So I've seen him struggle, of course. In my line of work and the company that we, work in, we work with teachers all across India and a few other countries. So I always tell them, go back and start doing the things that brought you passion and joy as a 9-year-old. So if I'm a teacher and I used to enjoy sketching, I used to enjoy cooking or whatever, dancing, start doing it all over again. If you start doing it all over again, you'll bring joy on Monday to the school or to the college or whatever, educational institution. Because if you come without joy, you cannot be a good teacher. You have to have joy within you to start connecting your teaching methods for the students to link their passion. If I'm being monotonous and I teach chemistry, nobody's going to be inspired. But if I teach chemistry with joy or physics or whatever it is, then the students say, wow, what a teacher. Ultimately, as a child, as a student, and you look back, the lectures that you enjoyed the most were passionate teachers, not lifeless teachers. So that's what I always say. Go back. It's never too late. If you're 40 as a teacher, you have 40 more summers left in your life. It's not too much. Right? What are you going to do at 80 or at 60? Are you going to say, wow, I just did teaching of 35 years and I don't know what to do from 60 to 80. So just reconnect your passion all over again. 10 minutes in a day, 20 minutes in a day. Start enjoying life. I think that's very important.
I think that's a great tip, not only for teachers, but for everyone, right? Whatever we are doing in our life. The way the society is now, everybody's on their Instagram and, portraying a perfect picture of their, even the coffee that they're drinking or the food they're eating, everything has to be picture perfect. But I remember you talking about a concept, I don't recollect the name, the concept where it's okay to have imperfections and there's a beauty in imperfection, right? And as a parent, as a student, as a teacher, it's okay. We all have our limitations and imperfections. How do we embrace that and how do we celebrate imperfections? And is there a lesson in that?
Yeah, I mean, life is not perfect, number one, right? You went through the trials and tribulations in life. So wabi-sabi, the concept is called wabi-sabi and kintsugi, two things I want to talk about. So wabi-sabi is the law of accepting life the way it is, impermanence. And the minute you accept life, acceptance is very important. A lot of us struggle with accepting our lives, right? When we accept our lives the way it is, then we can make it better. If you're constantly saying, oh, this, that, you're crying, cribbing, my salary is not enough, oh, I wish I'm driving a better car, then you're constantly in a rat race. But you say that my life is good, accept it, you broke a piece with it, then you can move forward. Second is kintsugi. Kintsugi is basically a concept where in Japan, where suppose you have a broken cup and they fix it with gold, liquid gold, and they don't they don't give away the cup. So I have something similar we follow at home. As a vase, it broke, but I fixed it. It is a reality check that you can fix everything in life and nothing is permanent except death. Right? The good times also go, the bad times also go. Tom Hanks has a beautiful clip on Insta, and I'll send you, where has a round table with famous actors, and he says, "Guys, I'm a lot older to you, except one thing, that good, this too shall pass." Philosophy. Good times will go, bad times will go. Just don't be affected by fame, adulation, or some tough time in your life. So I think these two things is very important. Tony Robbins says there are two important things in life: your meaning and emotion. What is the meaning you derive from an interaction, and what is the emotion you exhibit? If you have equanimity, then your emotion and your meaning will be good. But if you explode with every interaction, then your emotion that you exhibit to your world, to your loved ones, to your shareholders, to your teachers, whatever it is. So these two things are important. It's really what it is. I think wabi-sabi, kintsugi, these are the two concepts that you asked me about.
Yeah. And how do you think, young kids, right? I mean, we are talking about a 14-year-old, 15-year-old
Right.
who are completely influenced by the social media world, right? So, what is some tip or you want to impart on them?
I think as a parent, I always tell my son about the dangers of social media. I talk to him about limiting the use as much as possible and using it for the right methods. So if he uses it to see something about the weather, something about some new scientific ideas, then it's good. But if it's dumb scrolling, not that he does it, but I'm just saying that dumb scrolling is not going to help anyone, including you and me. I talk about my failures in life, and he needs to know it. And I always say that, I mean, social media, like you said, everyone is portraying a very unrealistic world, right? So a couple of months ago, I went to Oman for some work, and I visited the house that he grew up in. And I posted about it on LinkedIn saying it brought me very painful memories of the divorce and everything. And a lot of people reached out to me. They said, nobody writes about the bad times, but we could relate to what you said. A couple of days ago, I had posted something on life lessons, how. So somebody from HDFC Bank, she said, oh my God, I read a bit and I felt my life was story, divorce and a few things like that. So it's very important to be realistic and authentic. And that's what I tell people, that social media, limited, it's good. It's not the real world. It's not the real world. In Australia, if you know, they have banned social media for age up to 16. The law will be passed in Parliament now. So if you're 16, you cannot access till 16 TikTok, Instagram, etc. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I mean, you didn't grow up on social media. I didn't grow up on social media. Maybe, I don't think there was any Facebook and all. And when you don't have social media, you make real connections. Today, everyone is into the screen. They're not going out there, not playing anything. They're not reading. They're not. When was the last time a child looks at a tree and says, wow, it was beautiful? So it's a very big risk. An Australian government has recognized. And I think schools should adopt something like that.
And I think children need to understand that this is not what life is, what you see on social media. Life has, as you said, nuances. There are different layers to life, and just going through all the beautiful stuff that is on social media, life is not going to turn out. It's not going to turn that way, right? So there'll be many shades to life, and as your concept, what you beautifully explained, a broken vase with all its blemishes and, all the mending that they've done, it is still beautiful. Right?
And also in the Nordic countries, there's DIY, DIY.
Yep.
So you fix your own stuff. There's a problem in the house, you fix it and let it be broken. It's a reminder every day, it's broken, but it works. And we are all that. We are all broken. We are all wounded as human beings. We are healing. Nobody is perfect out there. To show me one person who is perfect.
Yeah. So I think this is a great example for children, who are growing up thinking that their dads are perfect or their moms are perfect or, their mentor is perfect. But everybody's gone through the same hustle in life. Everybody's gone through the same emotions. And if they're feeling something, and they're overwhelmed by something, I think it's fine, right? I mean, it's broken, but it'll still work. And, they'll figure out their own life and they'll figure out their own, to learn to embrace their own imperfections, and life will go on.
Yeah, and as a parent, you must allow them to be broken. Failure will fuel success. Tell them to fail. Tell them to try new things. If they do it, they'll be successful. You can't give them a platform that they're succeeding or they're facing no resistance all the time.
So, which brings me to another question. Recently, a very unfortunate incident. There was a boy, I think he was as young as your son, my daughter, and unfortunately, he killed himself, right?
That is Mustafa you're talking of. Southern India.
Maybe I don't want to say his name, right?
But he's put it on LinkedIn. He has said my nephew went through this. So
the point is like a young kid, right, in his prime where he was gonna go meet the world, become a productive. But right before all that, right, when he was at the age of 16, 17, he decided that he wanted to end everything. And it's very unfortunate that, children don't understand that it's okay to be different, right? And is there anything from the way you teach about happiness, the way you teach about accepting yourself and all these wonderful concepts that you have, is there any concept that you would want to teach those children who don't understand the fine line between having fun and bullying someone to like emotionally scar them forever?
I think there are two aspects. One is the person who's bullying and one is the person who's getting bullied, right? For the person who's getting bullied, there's a concept of saying no and setting boundaries. And it must start at home. It must start in the school. The teachers, educators must also have that environment. And for the, unfortunately, there are some students who think bullying is cool. It isn't. And if you see later in life, they will get bullied a lot. It's karma, right? It's very sad. I mean, globally, the statistics of people who commit suicide between 15 and 29 is alarmingly increasing, especially in India. It's also, I think, it's a reflection of society and social media, unfortunately. Ethics, kindness, omayari. There's a concept called omayari about kindness. Today, when you see in the world values like kindness, gratitude, compassion is not abundant, right? And as an educator, I always tell educators like you and schools and principals that we work with, instill values of kindness and compassion, mindfulness. In Finland and Denmark and a lot of Nordic countries, they teach happiness as a subject from grade 1 to grade 12. So by the time you're 18, you've done 300 hours of learning happiness as a skill set versus 0 today, right? I'm just giving you an example. If you've done that, chances are you won't bully someone.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of chances. And by the time you're 18, you'll be a better model citizen for your state, for your country.
Definitely.
So I think this is something that I was having a conversation last night, and I think schools must start teaching happiness, mental health as a core subject. It is not something, some cherry on the top. It doesn't work that way. You can't expect a 15-year-old to suddenly become kind and compassionate, and you've got to teach it from a very young age.
No, I completely agree because, if you practice music at a young age, you'll become a musician. It'll be part, even if you don't become a professional musician, but the way you will enjoy music, or the way you'll connect with music, it'll be completely different. And if you consciously learn about mental well-being, happiness, compassion from a very young age, and if you practice it, I think it definitely for the students it'll be really good. Coming back to the same question, I think a lot of children don't know the difference between whether they are really bullying somebody or they are just making fun of a person. So I think that is something the school needs to, or the teachers need to get more involved and define that line where kids cross it, because I'm sure some of the children think that they were just having fun, and they were just, as a group, they were having fun, and they don't realize when they cross boundaries. And also teachers, I think schools, look at this. I like what you're saying. This entire thing has to come in as a subject, because a lot of teachers and the management looks at bullying or children doing all this stuff as it's not in our control. The parents have to look into it, or their upbringing is wrong, and I'm sure no parent wants their child to become a bully, right? And if, of course, parents have their own responsibility in how they teach compassion, but I love this idea that more schools have to come up with at least some once in a month, a lecture or something.
It should be once a week.
Once a week.
Once a month is not enough. Once a week. One lecture, 35 minutes. That can be fitted into a curriculum. It's like 32 weeks of teaching in a year, right? You have 32 weeks of teaching. 32 lectures?
Yeah.
How much is it? 15 hours of teaching is nothing.
Yeah, and if it can be connected to a project, right? To kindness, to compassion, I think not only they'll understand the core concept, but they'll also learn how to apply it. So I think it's a great suggestion. So educators out there who are listening to us, probably they can think of this more seriously. And if they need any help, then Manny, he's written about 5 books now on mental health and happiness and compassion. So you can reach out to Manny. We will give his details in the comment section. So in the captions, you can reach out to him. Manny, my next question is, it's related to what we were talking about, right? That exams are going on. Children some of them take tremendous stress. Not only children, parents they get stressed themselves, right? If their child has to wake up at 4, the parent or the mother or the father will wake up at 3:30 and, prepare everything. So they are also themselves getting stressed. They are passing on that anxiety to their children. The school is stressed, right? They want a perfect score on their bulletin board saying that everybody did well in our school. How would you approach this? What is the tip that you would give all 3 stakeholders, right? Students, parents, and the school management, that exams are great. I mean, it's a great preparation for life, because, every day is an exam when you grow up, and you have to be prepared, and you have to, be right there to manage it. But life is an exam. It's going to go on. So what are your views on this? And what suggestion would you also give to the school?
Okay, see, for students first, I would encourage them to take breaks, micro breaks when they're studying. Listen to a song, journal a few thoughts, go out there for a walk, refocus, and remember that marks will not define you, right? They must look at the learning outcome, which empowers them to truly embark on a journey that's fulfilling. Right? I mean, when you look back, how much of history and geography are you applying to work? I mean, right? I always ask people this. What are you applying to work is being a good human being. If you're a good human being, you'll lead well. If you're a good human being, you'll be a good partner, husband, wife, whatever you want to say, right? And a good friend. So that's really important. Get your foundation right. Jack Ma, he always said that I try to excel in different things. I think he used to get 55, 60%, something he said, right? And he said, I wanted to experience more things because then I could know what I really want. When you look back, and I always do this research, how many school toppers and college toppers do well in real life? very small. The people who do well are probably the 60, 70, 80% who played sport, who were part of a school band, who did crazy things, right? And that's really what it is important. Exam pressure is good. Pressure is good. Like a diamond is formed when the coal goes through pressure, but don't make it all defining everything about it. Study, give it your best, and it's okay. 99, 35. I always say to get 99 and to get 35, the same effort. Think about it. 35% and 99 is the same effort. To be great and to be dumb is the same effort, right? You can't be dumb all the time. So don't just enjoy. It's good. Learn as much as you can. Exam, come back home, sleep for a bit, watch a little bit of TV, have fun with your parents, goof around. It's very important. You cannot be consistently 24/7 into your book. It's very tough. For parents, enjoy the exam pressure, but don't let it get to you, right? If your child doesn't go to IIT, it doesn't matter, right? And there's so many things to succeed today, right? I mean, don't put unnecessary pressure on your child. In Kota, the number of suicides is increasing. IITs have a lot of suicides. And it's very alarming. The statistic is very alarming. As a parent, this is the worst thing to hear, that you lost your child. So don't. Just tell them, okay, give it your best. It doesn't matter. Marks will not define you. If you go to a municipal school and you go to an ex school which charges $40,000 a year in Bombay, you think the outcome is different? No.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not. I mean, it's the environment. It's the habits that define you in their home. What are your parents reading? If your parents are reading, you'll end up reading. If your parents eat right, you'll end up eating right. If your parents treat neighbors, your house staff with love and care, you'll treat people with love and care. So it's very important. And as a parent, just enjoy. Don't get attached to the exam pressure and this, and just relax and tell him, hey, come out of your room, play a song and dance with your child for 5 minutes. It's good for you also, right? Or narrate a story saying, when I was going through my exam, this is how I handled it. And
to cross a river.
yeah, whatever, right? Just ask your child, do you have a crush on someone? So break the ice. And then let them go back saying, oh, wow.
So defocus it.
Yeah. And for an educator, I think, look around schools, look around colleges. The most successful products were not the toppers. They could be sportsmen, they could be scientists, they could be bankers, but they pursued a variety of interests, right? When I look around people who topped in school, they said, I play the guitar, it helps me defocus. I play some game, it helped me defocus. I would call my friend, I would go and cook a meal. While I would study 8, 10, 20 hours, I would also focus on other things. So for teachers, again, have an element of joy in your teaching and say, okay, your exams are coming. That's cool. Exams will come and go. But focus on shaping that individual, right? And again, for teachers, they must also bring their personal experiences to the classroom. Saying, when I was growing up, I approached my exams this way. Tell them about students who didn't really do well in the exam, but who performed well in real life. And that's what is going to motivate the students more than anything. So it's a combination of experiences, a combination of mindfulness, meditation, being a good role model as a parent at home. And, tell your child, okay, I had a KT in college, but today I'm running a magnificent business.
I'm successful enough to support the family.
Yeah. I mean, your
Also success.
leadership is transcending different levels, right? You're a parent, you're a leader. You're running your education group, you're a leader. In the gym, when you're exercising, you're a leader. So leadership is all across. And leadership is not defined by marks. I mean, honestly, at 35, 40, you're not asking somebody, how much did you get in SSC?
Yeah.
You're just saying, are you performing well? How can I make you perform well? So foundation is good. become a graduate. I always tell people, at least do your basic graduation is very important. After that, vocational training is very important.
So, this is a very important point at getting your basics right, and I think your latest book, I think, which is fifth,
Happiness Decoded.
yeah, happiness decoded, and there you also talk about all these things, right? You talk about mindfulness, and one of the things that I really liked in your book was about habits. So, can you speak a little bit about habits? That what are the right habits that I think we already touched upon it in a different way, but like two or three things that a student should apply to their life. These are the three habits. If you form early, then they're gonna really help you till you retire or forever.
I think habits is a cornerstone of our transformation and productivity. Um, we don't rise to our level of expectations and goals. We fall to the level of our habits. It's simple. So when I grew up, my mom was an economist at RBI. She would get books from the bank library, and that's how my love for books. And when you come to my home, I have like 1,000+ books, and my only indulgence is going to a bookstore and buying books. So the number one habit of billionaires, millionaires in the world, two habits: reading and journaling. They read 50 books a year and they journal 1 page a day minimum. So the first thing is reading. Second is journaling, a little bit of movement, exercise, meditation, and eating right. If you do these four things, I think from a young age.
Yeah, and I think these are fairly simple things. I mean, you don't need a lot of effort to.
Not at all. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything. You can read absolutely whatever.
Book is 500 rupees in India.
Yeah.
You go to McDonald's or,
Yeah.
a coffee is 500 rupees. A book is the best investment. So if you read 12 books a year and one book stokes your imagination, that's all you need. It shapes, okay, wow, this is what I want to do, right? Example, or it gives you ideas. So why do billionaires read 50 books a year? Because each book is $1 million idea for them. And they have to move $1 million and they make the next billion.
I think these are really, really easy, simple tips for anybody, not only just students, even somebody, who wants to progress at whatever age. I think it's good. There's another topic which I really enjoy, and I'm associated with, preschool. So that age group, is something very unique, right? They're just sort of stepping out, understanding world beyond their moms and dads, a new environment beyond their house. And we see, a lot of children, even young children as young as 3 and 4 and 5, we see a different level of challenges with them, some, especially post-lockdown, right? It was very difficult for them to come back to the normalcy. So, as a parent, I know you were a parent to a 3-year-old long time ago, but what suggestion would you give a parent of a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old, right? Because I see a lot of parents extremely concerned, right? They want to bubble wrap the whole world. My child cannot fall. This cannot happen. Somehow their own anxieties and their own pressures, it comes to their children. And I understand it because now nobody's having 4 or 5 children. Everybody's got just one child, and maybe people are more educated, more aware, but that more education and awareness has also brought in their own anxieties and insecurities into parenthood. So what would you tell them, because children are going to fall. Children are, that's the only way they're going to learn, right? They are going to fail. So any tips for young parents, because how they deal with their children at, as you said, habits, right? At a young age is going to define their expectation of the world and, how everyone around them is supposed to behave.
I think you touched upon something. I think the first one is really don't give them iPads and screens. Give them a book. Let them get their hands dirty. Let them play in the garden. Let them, if you can have a pet, it's great to have a pet at home. That inculcates kindness, compassion, sharing. If you have a single child, and then you become selfish. But if you have a single child and you have a dog at home, then they'll start sharing love, etc. So I think first is screens. It's very easy. Okay, the child is crying, give them a phone. I mean, it's harming them. It's harming them in a very big way. And research shows young children who are exposed to a lot of screen time develop much later, or they don't develop at all. So
Language development is delayed. That is proven. It's there out there.
So number one, that. Number two, don't mollycoddle. Right? Again, the Nordic countries are the happiest countries in the world. They have a chore culture that they encourage a young child to do things.
And Japanese preschools also do the same.
I think Japan till 7 or 8, they don't have exams, etc. They are only instilling the right values. So that's again very important, right? Just put the right values, put the foundation, let them fall, let them learn. Don't give them luxuries. You know, a lot of kids now are entitled today, right? You ask them to go on a local train, I think a teenager may not go. Say, oh my God, it's too crowded, it's no AC, etc. Let them do it. That's the only way they'll learn, because the real world, when your son and your daughter go into the real world and work in a corporate environment, nobody is going to mollycoddle, right? Nobody would do it. So let them learn, let them enjoy. Don't put pressure. Honestly, why? Pressure is not going to, at such a young age, will end up being detrimental to them.
And they're putting pressure on the kids. They're setting up wrong examples, expectation. They put a lot of pressure on the caretakers or on schools or daycares that they send their children to, and which could be completely detrimental to the way the child starts expecting from the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Pressure in terms of setting unreal expectations, or only giving them exposure to an environment which is unreal, right? Allow them to bloom. Allow them to bloom. The caterpillar should become a beautiful butterfly, right?
And there has to be struggle, right?
Please, you must have struggle.
It won't come out of the kapuna.
No. Or it'll come out in a very delicate manner. So allow them to enjoy. The environment at home is very important, JK. I think a lot of good parents read every night to their children. Like, Soa Ali Khan, who's a friend who comes to the gym. She reads every night to her daughter, Inaya, right? And I'm just taking her example because she's into books and she likes my books and etc. Read every night to the child for half an hour. Could be anything. It's magical. Reading is magical. Don't show them an iPad and say, okay, this is a cartoon. Please don't do it. Make them eat right with you. Spend some time. I know challenges of work is there, but if you can give an hour to your child every night, it's great. Make them experience small joys. Right? It's not about 5 stars and fine dining, and I'm sure a lot of parents today can afford. Let them go to a Irani. When was the last time?
A basic restaurant.
A basic restaurant. You don't need to buy them the latest. I don't know. There was something funny I was reading yesterday. It was anecdotal. So this kid grows up in a fantastic environment and suddenly said, Dad, I want this Adidas sneakers which cost 50,000, etc. because he saw it on social media. Right? At least make your child buy Bata, those 500 rupee shoes. And, so give them all of that, because that's the only way they'll realize the value of a beautiful thing. From a young age at 3, you're going to make them wear Adidas sneakers which cost 10, 20,000. When he's 15, he'll ask you for a 3 lakh sneaker. You mean as a parent. Give them the basics. Get the basics right.
So, last question of, you do a lot of talks on happiness and you speak, through your books, to your talks. Why is it suddenly in today's day and age, happiness become a pursuit, right? Because I don't remember my parents thinking about happiness, right? I don't remember my grandparent ever talking about happiness. And now, because I don't know, there could be many factors involved in this, But why is happiness given so much premium? My personal views are a little different, which I feel that happiness could be in the smallest things, like what he said, going to a basic restaurant or whatever. But why is it so important in today's day and age that people have to relearn what happiness is? And I'm sure that is one of your jobs, to make people understand what true happiness is. So, parting note, can you speak about true happiness?
I think there are two concepts. One is eudaimonic, which is long-standing. What's it hedonic? Hedonic is the rat race, instant gratification, which the world is going through, right? How many likes, etc., etc. We've got to move away from hedonic to go to a eudaimonic path. Happiness today, people are going through midlife crisis at 25, right? So young people are suffering because there are a few things which are missing. Roots are missing. Today, young people do not have roots. It's a concept called asset light. You don't want to own a house, you don't want to own a car, you don't want to be in a relationship, right? So when you don't have all these things going for you, what's your root? Loneliness is the new pandemic in the US, right? Epidemic, the pandemic, or whatever. They have less than 1.5 friends. India, I think we are a little blessed, but probably more. But social media again fuels lack of real connections. So it's a very basic thing which people are getting wrong. If you invest in the small actions daily, like good sleep, some exercise, calling a friend, speaking, have a good conversation with your loved one, reading a book, maybe journaling, listening to something inspirational, then those small acts lead up to your bank of happiness. You can't buy happiness. You cannot do it. Sachin Tendulkar was gifted a Ferrari, by Fiat. He barely drove it. He said, "Where do I drive a Ferrari in Bombay?" A businessman in Surat who's his fan bought the car. And trust me, if you have a Ferrari, if you could afford a Ferrari of 4 crores, you'd be worried every time you took it out because somebody would steal that emblem, which costs 3 lakhs. Somebody would scratch the car. I would rather go with you in an Uber and chill and have a good time. So happiness lies in the smallest of things. And you look back at your childhood or today or whatever, having a cup of coffee, sitting in your garden, looking at the sky buys you more happiness than a fancy suit you wear. So we must realize that happiness is a very intrinsic thing. If you give the power of happiness to others, you'll never be happy. If you're happy and you're content, you're joyful within, and that's what monks do, right? They practice intrinsic path. One of your favorite quotes, Jo Mila Bismillah, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I quote it a lot to people. This is good. You got something more? That's a bonus. That's it.
Yeah. I think very, very well summed up. And this is what the goal of this talk is, to connect with people like you, who are directly and indirectly connected to education and this sector, who bring in, more insights of how education should be. I think India was always known as a country of the wise, right? It was always a Vishwaguru. And the way our education is, or the expectation is being set up about marks or about a certain degree, and, not forgetting basic values like, where do you find real happiness? And through people like you and guests like you, I think we'll try to bring in more insights into how real holistic education should be. So thank you, Manny, for spending this time with us. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.